All right, welcome back to Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buck What You Heard. You follow me, I'll follow you back. I'm joined by my co-host Christina, Tampa Sports Bay. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm excited. Um, the Lightning game didn't go like I thought it would, but you know, I think they can close it out. Or
Yeah, you can't win them all. It's just second round. You can't get a full sweep. So tomorrow's a new day,
yep.
and you know it's a really great series so far. Lightning have been playing well.
Yeah, and have you seen any of the shirts, the Lightning T-shirts that Smack Apparel laid out?
Yes, Robbie is sending me a shirt, so I thought I would have it today to wear, but nope, sadly not today. But next time I will wear it.
All right, man. I'm glad to hear that. That is awesome. All
Hmm.
right. So, again, it's anytime that I know this is Bucks Report. I know we talk about Bucks football, but at the same time, we do want to support everything that's going on in Tampa. This is an exciting time when you have a team that has continuously gone to the playoffs. It is newsworthy. So we do want to talk about it. Johnny Dean, Fabian Espinoza, how you guys doing tonight? Um, you know, we've been kind of going through. I've been trying to get people to, people that listen to me to go over to Bucks Report and check out some of the articles that they've been producing, especially in the off season. I think
Hmm.
they've done an amazing job with the articles that they put out, and bucksreport.com. Get a chance to go over there. Evan Winter is the one of this the lead writer there, and he's put out some really good articles. Um, One of them was talking about what do the Bucks need to improve most in 2021, and I thought this would be kind of a cool way to start out a very slow. And folks, we'll be doing a lot of this. We have 6 weeks until we can. Well, actually, almost five until we can really have something newsworthy to talk about when it comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because of the after mandatory OTAs, that's pretty much it, and you just kind of have to hurry up and wait until we get closer to camp and that kind of thing. So, it's really interesting. Evan did a great job with this, and for you, Christina, before we jump into this, when we look back on the season, was there anything that just kind of had you on the edge of your seat when the Bucks would come on the field and you were just like kind of stressed about and you weren't sure what was going to happen?
I mean, in the beginning of the season, obviously there were tons of things that they needed to improve upon. And when they hit the bye week, everything changed, and everybody was working on this. Everybody was on the same page, and everything was working pretty well. After reading Evan's article, it was more like, okay, yeah, I see that. Like, I wasn't so much nervous, but a couple of the things did stand out, like the third and long situations on pass defense. That was always a difficult thing to watch because the Bucs defense is so good, but their pass defense does struggle a little bit. But I think they mostly contributes to how young the backs are. So that's definitely something that they will need to improve upon. That's like the biggest thing that I see as an issue, as well as wide receivers or running backs catching the ball.
Yeah, and that in itself, I think just pass defense overall. We were fortunate that the team came into their own. And one thing that you really hope for is that the secondary starts out fast.
Yeah.
That they're not regressing and having to start all over again and put themselves in a position to make improvements again, but they can kind of pick up where they left off against the Kansas City Chiefs and take that positively, into the new season. One of the things that I found interesting, and it is something that I did see, was pass defense against tight ends, and the
Yeah.
Bucks did struggle. I mean, there were times where we saw Taysom Hill, who was a real nightmare, and he was just really hard to defend against when you watched him. And I think that's a big reason that New Orleans has really worked him in as an offensive weapon more so than a quarterback.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, we talked about him last show, how, defenses just can't plan for what he's going to do. He always does something very special, very different than, any quarterback or tight end is going to do. And, another tight end that the Bucs struggled with was Kansas City. Travis Kelsey. So
Travis
he was
Kelce, yeah.
another one that was difficult to control in their first game, but they obviously were able to shut him down in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think he got his touches, but he didn't make as big an impact as you've seen him make throughout the season and during those Kansas City games.
I think the Super Bowl, the front seven were just so dominant that Mahomes just couldn't even get the ball out in time to get to his receivers at all.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight, as we promised, we're going to do a whole lot more with getting the listeners involved. And I am going to put the phone number up here in just a moment. I want to kind of go through some of the questions in the chat. B Loggins, longtime listener, B Loggins, how you doing? If I was to say there was one area that needs work, it's still the secondary. I mean, they came together in the playoffs, but got burned a lot in the regular season, and perhaps they just need time to gel. That's kind of along the lines of what I was talking about. I would love to see this secondary just come out strong and come out of the gates just fast, consistent. Just kind of, like I said, picking up where they left off, because
the consistency is what's going to matter with this secondary. They each individually have the skills to be, great players. They have to work together and just be consistent with it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Fabian said that he went out and bought the Blu-ray.
Read it first. Start watching the Lightning. It'll help ease the pain a little bit.
There you go. Another person that I wouldn't say struggled, because I promise you, Devin White is 10 times better than the person he replaced, and I'm happy that he is a Buccaneer. But I really would love to see Devin White, just like Evan mentioned here, a little bit better in pass coverage. I mean, he was somewhat inconsistent, but I think as the season progressed, he kind of came into his own and he got a little bit more comfortable. But we need to see him take another step to really kind of get a little bit more consistent than what we saw. I think he's been a solid player, all around solid player, as far as sacks and rushing the quarterback, stopping the run. But you just need, I'm hoping that we do see a little bit more consistency when it comes to pass coverage.
Yeah, absolutely. In the beginning of the season, he was doing well. And then kind of towards the middle, like the early middle, he was being exposed for not being as great as a pass defender as like he should be. And quarterbacks and wide receivers were starting to notice that. And he fixed that pretty quickly, which is, surprising. For a while, I was like, oh gosh, it's like Devin White is only good for, run defense. Like, what is happening? He needs to step it up. I mean, he is only this will be his third year. So he still has a lot to learn.
There's still, you're absolutely right. There's still a lot of upside. And, again, it's not like he's a horrible player. It's just, there are certain things that can really help this defense solidify itself even more so, just with better pass defense, whether it's the secondary, your safeties, corners, and even your linebacker core. So you just want to see that consistently coming out of the gate. You're going to see some teams that love to pass the ball. So I think the Bucs really have to take a look at that. And again, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they do. Only because they watch 10 million times more film than I do. And, I'm sure that people get annoyed with me because, I've always got the TV on, I've got all 22 on, and I'm looking at something. So, it's going to be really interesting to see, how this team makes that next step. So, with that being said, I think the next thing that, we talked about, or that Evan talked about, was throwing the ball deep down the middle of the field. And, throwing the ball 20 plus air yards between the hashes was something he did not do well in 2020. Brady's play has always been considered superior and than that of his competition, but he was merely average or below average when attempting these throws. I think we will see improvement here from Tom Brady. Again, here's another player that does watch the film. I think it's familiarity with the offense. The fact that he's got a full season under his belt. I do have very high expectations that we will see market improvement where that's concerned.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue was, Tom Brady's not really used to throwing the ball deep. He's used to in New England. So when he came to the Bucs, and Bruce Arians is all about throwing deep, and that's just the way this offense with the Bucs works. He wasn't able to get the hang of the offense as quickly because there was no OTAs, there was no training camp, there was no preseason. So it took him a while to get the hang of it, and I can only expect great things from him because Tom Brady is old, but the old saying, like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but this one I think you can teach him a bunch of new stuff.
There you go. Kind of going back to the chat, I want to see Rojo take the next step to show he can be the plan at running back long term. Fournette is nice, but I think Rojo can be the future. I've been very happy with Ronald Jones. I know that there have been some plays that he's, people, drop balls or, miss blocks and that kind of thing. Ronald Jones has shown that he can improve every, in the off seasons from his rookie season to his sophomore season. We saw a big jump in his abilities. And again, when he's learning a lot of new things, and I expect big things from him. I expected him to go over 1,000 yards last year. I think had he not had the injury, he definitely would have gone over 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah, he would have been well over 1,000 yards. It was unfortunate that he got injured towards the end of the season. And, Leonard Fournette kind of got the hot hand, so he got more of the reps than Rojo did towards the end of the season, and then also in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And B. Loggins, I'm going to hold this question here because I think we're going to talk a little bit more. I touched on it a little bit on Wednesday, but I want to talk about it again because there's a lot of things that we, I just kind of wanted to go over again. But more or less, the competitions that are available out there, as limited as they are, we'll take a look at those and see what, we'll talk a little bit more about this. So I'll definitely come back to this question here. Sean Murphy-Bunting or Jamel Dean for long term. I think this season will be the telltale sign of who does what.
Yeah.
I love Sean Murphy-Bunting. I'm not taking anything away from Jamel Dean, but Sean Murphy-Bunting would be my, if it were me, would be my first choice. So, just based on what you're saying, that would definitely be where I would be going.
Right. For the secondary, because they are so young, a lot of them are, last season was their second year. So this will be their third season. So they have a lot to prove to this team, to the defense, and to the Buccaneers in general, to see, are they going to be sticking around for the long term? Devin White obviously is going to be someone who will be around for the long haul, hopefully. And as far as Sean Murphy-Bunting and Jamel Dean, they both really improved this past season.
Right.
Whereas, Jamel Dean was kind of exposed on his pass rush, or not his pass rush, sorry, like his pass defense. And then Sean Murphy-Bunting was, missing tackles a lot, but towards the end of the season, they were starting to get better. So hopefully they can pick up where they left off and continue to improve upon their skills.
Yeah, I think you saw more consistency along the lines. I mean, from coaching to the actual play. I think there was an actual plan in place. They were using a lot of players to their strengths. So, on the back end of the season, it was just a little bit easier for them to make those plays and to be effective against offenses, especially in the playoff runs they had. So that again kind of goes back to what I was saying originally. I'm hoping, I'm praying that they start out fast, they pick up where they left off, and continue to improve, and that's what you want to see. So with the full OTAs, with the full camp, with preseason, I think it's really going to put this team in a really good position. So I'm looking forward to that. And Ramona K, how you doing, Ramona? I haven't heard from you for a while. It's a little bit off subject, but what do you think is going to happen to Aaron Rodgers? Adam Schefter says the Raiders are Dolphins. You better believe if the Dolphins get Rodgers, even you know, I've really lost a lot of the things that I thought Aaron Rodgers was a really good quarterback, and not to take anything away from his physical play, but again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but this has gotten messy, and it didn't need to get to this point.
Yeah, it completely got out of hand. I think, this season they'll make up and, put something in his contract, maybe just a 1-year deal, and then he can go wherever he wants. So this might be his last straw with
Do you
Green Bay.
he comes back to Green Bay?
I think maybe this season, yes, I think so. And it'll kind of be like his last thing. And he's like, if this doesn't work, then I'm gone. That'll kind of be like his ultimatum.
Yeah. And Ramona, I mean, you've got Tua there. I mean, they did a lot to get Tua, in a Dolphins uniform. I felt like they pulled the trigger too soon, and they should have let Ryan Fitzpatrick run the team and then bring him on next year. I thought that that would provide him a little bit more time to catch up with the speed of the game, and you're not putting all that pressure on his shoulders. So, that does play a factor in a quarterback psyche when you make a lot of mistakes and you have turnovers, or you're used to winning. You come from a winning program and you come in and you're almost like you're starting all over again. So, I don't know. I'm not a coach. I'm not a general manager, but just from what I was looking at, I would have probably let him set and just learn, kind of like what you're seeing with Trask.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
They were paying too much attention to Tua to bring in somebody like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. So it's going to be, I'm interested to see, just like everybody else, is how this all plays out. So many sub stories and different plots that are going on. I did want to let everybody know that the phone lines are open. I don't know if you saw that. 813-358-8154. We would love to hear from you. I am paying attention to the phone lines. I have the volume up, and I've done everything humanly possible to make this all work. So, please, if you get a chance to call in, please do. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your thoughts on, how you feel about the off season, or just anything that we're talking about right now. The chat is really interesting right now.
Yeah, I love the chat. Just
Yeah.
call us up and let's talk.
Yeah. All right. B-Log is the most realistic landing spots for Rodgers would be somewhere like Denver or Tennessee.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking Denver, even the Raiders too, though. But Denver looks like they need some help. They could do Peyton Manning type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they could possibly, anything could happen there.
Aaron Rodgers could just quit football altogether and be the host of Jeopardy now.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, we got a Saints person in the chat. Who that? We come in and don't think you're ready. Oh, okay. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, enjoy that NFC South championship, my friend. And so Oakland, I don't know. Oakland, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, who knows what's going on in Oakland? I feel like they're always like, I feel like the Raiders are, well, it's not Oakland anymore, Vegas.
Yeah.
I feel like they're always supposed to be good, and then they're just not. They're just average or below average.
Yeah.
There's always this hype around the Raiders, like, oh, they got this, and like there's nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get back into the chat. Johnny Dean. I almost said Jamel Dean.
Yeah.
The Bucs are loaded the running back room with dual threat running backs, which is, we got a caller. Okay, hold on. Ooh. All right, you're live on Buck What You Heard. Who are you talking with?
Not Jamel Dean.
How you doing?
How's it going, Gene?
Good. How are you? If you guys don't know,
great,
this is Johnny Dean. This is Johnny Dean, not Jamel, not to be mistaken with Jamel Dean. So you've established that.
I wouldn't mind the comparison. The guy's a baller, and that's why I wanted to talk about him.
Okay.
you saw the difference with him out of the game and the difference with him in the game. Jamel Dean is probably going to be a shutdown corner in this league, man. And I know that's stretching it for everybody, but I've watched his improvement each season. I've watched the difference when he's out of the games, and he's not this big splash guy that gets all the interceptions and stuff, but he does his job well enough that they don't throw toward him.
Yeah, he's more about fundamentals than anything.
Exactly. Yeah, he studies tape. He studies tendencies. He's on top of the game, and I believe Jamel Dean's going to be one of the shutdown corners in the league soon.
Yeah,
he picked it up last year. Last year in the Super Bowl, he picked it up. Man, they didn't throw. He shut down. What's his name? Mr. Deuces.
Oh,
Tariq
Hill.
Yeah, he shut him down. To the point where they moved him over and started running him on different routes, man.
Yeah. So, and I think what we saw was that secondary working collectively, and they weren't working against.
Communication.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just going to say that we can go back to 2017, 2018, and we saw guys that were worried about what the guy next to him was going to do. So they played a little bit out of position. They tried to cheat and got burnt. And there was just no consistency in that secondary. What you have now are a bunch of guys that are comfortable with where they are. They know that they need to go in and do their job, and they're comfortable with the guy next to them or everybody around them, basically, to where they could just focus on what they need to do and, focus on fundamentals. And you'll hear me say that word a lot as well. They look like a totally different secondary from what we saw on the back end of the season after the bye going into the playoffs. You can look at the first 6-7 weeks and they just don't look like the same secondary. And it's a testament to the team, and it's a testament to the coaching staff.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. On the Rodgers thing, I'm not down on Rodgers about this. That team has been structured to the point where it's a bean counter that calls the shots. It's not the GM. It's not the head coach. It's not the player personnel. It's a bean counter in the offices that makes these calls on this. And that the players that's played there have complained about it for years. The first one who complained about it was Brett Favre. And the structure there hasn't changed since then. They got this guy puts down a time and date for replacing the quarterbacks or any other player on the team. Remember Jordan?
Yep.
I mean, they cut him, and the guy moved on and had three more great years, man.
Yeah.
It kind of works that way with Green Bay. They don't look at the players, and that's what I believe in Rodgers' interview he was talking about. There's nothing personal. All other teams have a head coach and ownership that calls the shots, right?
Right.
They don't have that. They have a bean counter that looks at a piece of paper and a calculator.
And I think what's really hurt Green Bay as well is they have not done well in the draft. For years they have not done well in the draft consistently.
Well, a lot of that is because they get rid of their veterans way too soon, and then they have to rely on free agency, and then a lot of people don't want to go there anymore. I mean, it used to be a destination. Now it's a place to stay away from.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, that could be something. That's something to be said about Aaron Rodgers wanting to leave. Maybe it is known things that go on behind the scenes that we don't know about, that, maybe management or coaching is like a toxic environment that people don't really want to go to.
Yeah, there's no one person that can settle a grievance. It's all, you got three people, player personnel, GM, and head coach, that none of them know who actually calls the shots. They look at each other like, what are we doing? What do we do? And you've heard all three of them come out on TV and say, we really want Aaron back, but it's out of our hands.
Yeah. And again, I when Christina was talking about it earlier, I'm not sure that he comes back. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure at this point, it's not any person in the team that he's aggravated with. I'm quite sure that it's the system itself in Green Bay, and he just don't want the headache. He wants to go somewhere else where he can actually play on a team that looks at the people.
Right. And
Green Bay does not look at you. Yeah, Green Bay does not look at you as a person. You're just a number there, and that's one of the few teams in the league. I think it's one of the only team. It's the only team in the league that does it like that.
Yeah,
and that's because the way the ownership is set up there.
Well, I do have one other question for you. We were talking about the Miami Dolphins, and I've kind of alluded to it a couple of times. What are your thoughts on Tua? Do you think that he's the answer in Miami?
Oh, I was just talking about this with Keith earlier. I think Tua gets a shot because what was he, 5-2 or 6-2 last year as a starter, and then, but his overall career, I don't think is going to be that long, like 15 years maybe, if he is as good as everybody thinks he is. If he's not, less than 5.
Yeah,
because he got beat up, man. He got beat up in Alabama, dude.
Yeah, he really did. Yeah, I remember that.
That's another reason why I think they started him way too soon.
Yeah, I would have loved, like I said, I would have loved to have seen Fitzmagic come in and just, regardless good or bad or otherwise, let him finish out the season. I mean, he was somewhat on a roll when they pulled him.
Yeah, that point where they pulled him, I don't agree with, but I kind of agree with them letting Tua in and seeing what he can do facing NFL defenses. They had to know what they have. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that they could make a decision this year in the draft. If they hadn't done that, they probably would have drafted another quarterback.
Yeah. But I mean, you go from Josh Rosen and you bring him in and you think, okay, this is the guy. And he, they just move on from him just like it wasn't nothing.
Yeah. Like I forgot about him completely.
He's got like the worst luck ever in the NFL, I think.
He does, doesn't he? Everywhere he goes, they're drafting a new quarterback.
Yeah. So,
well, you're not the answer, Josh.
Exactly.
Where is he now? Did he retire?
There you go. So, so for you, I mean, what do you look? What are some of the points that you're looking for with the NFL season coming up?
Oh man, there's so many points. Each team has a whole story on there, man. Look at the Bills. They brought back they didn't bring back their entire team like we did, but they brought back a lot of players, man. Mm-hmm. So the improvement that we're expecting to have, I think they're expecting the same kind of improvement,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these are great measuring sticks to see, where the Bucs are, throughout the season. I think that Bills game is going to be a really good one as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm excited for that game. I plan on going to. I hope to go to the game. If not the game, I'll be at the tailgate for sure.
Yeah, that'd be a great game. That's the game I was looking forward to. That's the game I wanted to open with, was the Bills, man. That would have been a great opening night.
Yeah, that would have been. But I don't know how they would have handled this Tampa Heat.
That's kind of I wanted them down here.
They're used to being bundled up in their parkas.
I'm telling you what, man. I've seen people fold. I can remember going to the State Fair and all the snowbirds would still be in Tampa, and going to the State Fair, they go into the Budweiser tent and you just see them dropping like flies before the day is done. So I'm telling you, this Tampa Heat is another beast.
Yeah, I'm lucky here in Pittsburgh. I'm within 4 hours of Washington, Ravens, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. So I can get to any of these games pretty easy here.
Yeah. So for you, I mean, what game are you going to try to go to this year?
I ain't going to make a game this year, but the following year is what I'm saving up for when we play the AFC.
Oh, okay. There we go. So you have a whole laundry list of teams and games to go see then.
Yeah, the AFC North is where I want to see the Bucs play. I want to see how they match up against the Ravens and the Steelers and the Browns. Nice. That's going to be a good season next year.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, any final thoughts before I let you go?
No. I'll make, if I do have anything else, I'll pop it in the chat.
All right. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling. Being one of the brave ones to call in. Thank you.
Later, guys.
All right.
Later.
All right. That is Johnny Dean, the professor. I love talking football with him. We may not agree. We may not see eye to eye, right, but he can reason with you and you're like, oh, okay, I see your point. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes football fun too, is just
absolutely
having different opinions.
You can talk about things and not have the same opinion, but still be fans of the same team. So, at the end of the day, we're all Bucs fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Ramona K was asking, what do fans think about Julio Jones on the Bucs? There's no room.
Nope.
That wide receiver room is ridiculous.
Not only is there no room, but I wouldn't want Julio Jones anyways because, he is getting up there in age and he's injury prone.
Yeah. Again, I think if he gets on the right team, like a Denver Broncos, I mean, even Miami. I mean, but I know he wants to go somewhere where he's going to a contender. So I'm curious to see where he ends up. Maybe Tennessee. Maybe I could
Yeah,
see.
who knows?
I could see Tennessee. I mean, you've got Derrick Henry. You've got Tannehill. I think putting him in there, kind of takes some of the pressure off of him because you do have offensive weapons there. So, to some extent, you've got a really interesting division, which is actually a division that's kind of up in the air this year, and anybody
Right.
can win it. And I think that he could kind of tip the scales a little bit if he can come in and stay healthy. So I don't know. It's going to be
That's the biggest thing for him is staying healthy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Fabian, there you go. Buck him up. All right. So Chill Will was asking, we got another call. Hold on one second. Let's get the call. All right. You're live on Buck What You Heard. Who we talking with?
Hey, this is Jay.
Hey, Jay. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. What's on your mind?
All right. Yeah, man, I wanted to call in. First of all, great show, man. I've been listening to you for a little bit.
I appreciate that.
Wanted to no problem, man. I wanted to chime in a little bit about the whole cornerback situation.
Okay.
Carlton Davis. I don't know what it is with this guy. He's played great down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed to be solid, but I don't know if we can trust him as being a number one corner. It just seems to me like, that defensive line is great, right? They're
Right.
A1.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not getting pressure, he just can't stand up on the back end. He can't run with these guys, and you can see it. He's more of a zone corner.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say, more like a Rondé Barber type. Obviously, he's not Rondé Barber. He's a great corner, but he's a little slow. He makes great plays on the ball when he's there, but he just seems like he can't run with the guys. He kind of really got exposed again in the Green Bay playoff games against Adams. I think Adams went off on him, and then he ultimately gave up a long bomb to, I think, Valdez Stanley down the sideline. So that's one of my biggest concerns on the cornerback. And I just wanted to know, how do you feel about Carlton Davis?
I'm kind of like you. He's been somewhat inconsistent, but when he's and this is where I struggle. When he's good and he's on, and there's no questioning, his ability. But then you'll see, I don't know if he thinks about things too much, and it's not instinctive, and he puts himself in a position. I can't really speak on it, but like you, I do see something. I don't know what it is, and I want to, speak on it and say, okay, but it's just something. It's like he's thinking too hard, or he's not 100% confident, because you need that swagger. Antoine Winfield Jr., Jamel Dean, and some of these others, Sean Murphy Bunting, they've got the swagger.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see it, but sometimes you're like, he's apprehensive about what he does. So I can't quite put my finger on it, but like you, I know that the general manager and the coach are looking at tons of film as well. You never know. I mean, that may be something that they look, to see if they can improve on next offseason. But I think, this is your group right here, and this is kind of who you're riding with. So like you, this is something I will definitely be keeping an eye on. And, I'm glad you brought that up. That's a really good point. Christina?
Yeah, I agree. There's something about Carlton Davis that, like you said, you can't really put your finger on it. When he is good, he's on fire. He's a ball hawk, and he is going to make the play on the ball no matter what, whether he is batting it down or making the interceptions. So there's that. He's got that going for him. He is fast, but he does have a hard time keeping up with receivers. He gets turned around a lot. And so
yeah, he does.
like you said, I don't really know if that's a mind thing, something that's going on in his head, overthinking, if that's a skill thing, or if that's just him being young and inexperienced. So, I mean, he has the potential to be our number one, one of our top corners. And, I think this is a deciding season for a lot of our defenders because they are coming into their third or fourth year.
Right, especially on that back end, because I see a lot of improvement with Dean the most. I mean, he's been outstanding. He's a big corner, so I'm really rooting for him to really come on strong for the Bucs this season. And then Murphy Button, I mean, he's been, to me, the more solid, consistent corner. So those two guys are great, but I mean, maybe it's because Carlton Davis is going up against the number one, possibly. Maybe that's why he might be getting exposed. But as far as on the back, I mean, Antoine Winfield Jr. is great. Like, he's amazing, man. Yeah. He might be one of the best safeties in the league. I wouldn't say he's the best, but even as a rookie, I'm not just saying this because I'm a Bucs fan, but I mean, seeing him being, a rangy ball hawk, lighting people up across.
Yeah, he hits like a linebacker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's all over the place. I mean, the range, and he just makes up for a lot. I've seen him make plays, where, Carlton Davis might have been beat down the field, and he'll go and swat the ball away.
Right.
He's aggressive. He's strong. I wanted to also ask you guys about the left tackle spot with Donovan Smith. So I was one of those guys. I was really hoping they would let move on from Donovan Smith. Even though he had a great playoff, stretch, he really, I just don't know, man. I mean, his whole regular season, he was really one of the worst players on the offense. Like, if you look, people were coming off the corner, off the edge. They would beat him on inside rushes, bull rushes, and you could see Tom getting frustrated. That Bears game, he looked ridiculous, man. I mean, that game, and it seemed like he was giving up a sack a game, and he would jump off sides. How do you guys feel about Donovan Smith?
Again, here's another player where consistency, it just kind of pops in your head. And you're right. I've seen plays. There were times I wanted to launch his ass into the sun.
Oh, almost every single play. I'd be like, don't you dare jump off sides, Donovan. Don't you dare do it.
Yeah, you wanted to send him to the gulag, man, because that dude was just like, I don't know what's going on with him. And then when he makes plays, he's another player like that we just talked about. When he's on and he's run blocking, he'll put you on your ass. I mean,
he'll flatten you.
A hell of a run blocker. And I believe now he has a little bit more confidence. You saw that especially throughout the playoffs. He has a little bit more confidence than what he had. And we always said he has that potential, and you were starting to see it a little bit more through the playoffs. And I think that's kind of why they brought him back. And this is opportunity. This year right here is his opportunity to show what he can do. You just hope that he makes market improvement over last year and he's more consistent, and he can keep Tom Brady upright.
Yeah. I agree. That Bears game was really the turning point for him. It was really the turning point for as far as being disciplined, because the penalties were just off the charts in that game.
Yeah. And Christina, I'm gonna let you get to that point, but Christina's right. I mean, discipline is huge. And that's kind of what we saw from him, was he was a little bit more disciplined after that. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a year to show his consistency because, like you said, he's a great run. He's great at run blocking, but he's average at, pass blocking, which, I mean, you can't ask for.
I agree.
He's average. So it's not like he's horrible, but he definitely has something to improve upon. And this is the year for him to show, because he did make improvements towards the end of the season, but it's all about consistency. Is he going to be able to start back at that level again?
Right.
Yeah. Donovan Smith, like I said, I know they signed him back. It's just his cap number, man. It's incredible for him to be, like, he's a great run blocker, but like in those passing situations, I think they did a better job later in the season with giving him some help, or maybe, setting up with a 3-step drop and a quick pass. Because on 3-step, I mean, it's incredibly hard to get to the quarterback because he's
Yeah.
getting the ball out of his hands quick. But I mean, I just hope he plays like he played in the playoff for us next season.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing, I mean, we got a pretty solid schedule. It could have been worse.
Yeah.
But we're playing some elite edge rushers. I think we're playing Washington. I actually live in Maryland, so I'm looking forward to going to that game.
Oh, nice.
But
I would hope, if you are after that game, I'd love for you to call back into the show and, let us know, your thoughts on the game, being there live.
Oh, most definitely. I would
right.
definitely love to do that.
All right. So for you, outside of that Washington game, what are some of the big games that you're interested in seeing from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Man, for me, I was going to go to the Dallas game, but then the ticket prices went through the roof. It almost seems like, I mean, you just got to have money in the bank to go to that. I just want to go for the season opener.
Keep in mind that those are only resale tickets. I wouldn't stress about it too much. I know that those prices will come down.
Yeah.
And you will be, you will have games, tickets that are a lot more reasonably priced. And that's kind of what I would wait on. I know people are freaking out about some of the ticket prices. I don't think they're going to drop in New England, but like for that Bucs game, but for that Bucs Dallas game and any of the games at Ray J, I think those prices you will see because those are all resales. So I wouldn't really stress about that too much.
Right. But outside of that, I mean, pretty much any game along the East Coast, because since I'm in Maryland, so I'll probably say definitely Washington, probably take a drive up to see them. I think they play the Jets at some point.
Yeah.
And I think it was Philly too.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to going to Philly fans are always fun.
Are they really? I hate Philly fans.
Oh, they're crazy.
Yeah, they're crazy. It's a good time because they always talk trash.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
We went to I actually went to the Phillies game when the Rays were in the World Series, and I hate Philadelphia fans. They eat their young. That's just kind of what I feel about them, man. They're horrible. So I don't know, man. It just it's one of those things you got to be careful up in there. Don't they have a jail in their stadium or something like that?
A what?
Yeah, I think they do. I think that if they don't on this one, I think it was one of the old ones. Because I mean the fans are crazy, man. I actually went through the Wizards game. I know this is a little off subject when they played the 76ers, and I found out that was actually a 76ers fan that ran onto the court.
Was it?
Yeah.
The guy that got tackled. That was the guy that got tackled, right?
Oh yeah, man! I have a video of it and everything. It's incredible. He just came down, running down the stairs, and it's like at first I thought it was I thought it was some type of act or something. But I was like, this guy really ran on the court.
All right. Yeah. Well, I do. I want to thank you for calling in. One of the brave ones that did call in. I appreciate that. You're always welcome to call in. You're a friend of the show now that you called in. You're home, and anytime you want to call in, you're always welcome to. I will be actually in Tampa. The 1st through the 5th of July. We're going to try to go live. We'll give you a little bit more information on that as we get closer to the time, but we will be live and we will be giving out some Smack Apparel t-shirts to some lucky winners and get a chance to answer some questions or throw the football and see, or kick a football and see how good you are. So we're going to make that available too. Compliments of Bucs Report, Smack Apparel, and whichever venue that we're going to be at. So it's going to be a good time. We will be giving more opportunities as we get closer to the season, giving more people opportunities to win a free t-shirt. So keep that in mind, keep calling in, and you're greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for taking my call. Have a good day, guys.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about. I love this. This is what when it's interactive like this, you gotta love it. I've been seeing a lot of talk about people are talking about my guy Trask.
Yep.
And, are you following Trask 1 of 1 by any chance on Twitter?
I think so, but I'm not entirely sure.
Do you know the history behind Trask 1 of 1?
No.
Okay. So when Jameis Winston,
Story time.
yeah, exactly. When Jameis Winston was the quarterback in Tampa, there was an anonymous writer, and he was Jameis one of one. And so Jameis one of one would always get into arguments with people, and he just basically he would throw out statistics about Jameis Winston, how great he was. He did this, he did this, he did this. He's been on my show a couple of times.
Okay.
So he wrote a book called Jameis Winston Derangement Syndrome, which
I think I've seen this guy on Twitter.
Yeah, you may have seen him. So now that Jameis is a saint, and I don't ride with Jameis anymore because he's a saint. I could care less one way or the other. When Kyle Trask was drafted, all of a sudden I get this guy following me, and it's Trask one of one. So that's kind of been the running joke is Trask one of one. I'm waiting for his Kyle Trask Derangement Syndrome book to come out, and just this kind of
only if, that's only if Kyle Trask doesn't live up to his potential.
Yeah. So again, that's kind of the joke. I've heard a lot of good things about Trask. I really have.
I have too.
Just his decision making, just how he handles the game. We had Michael Pless on Wednesday. He talked a little bit about him, and I want to see him do good. Any Buccaneer, I want us to break this curse of not being able to draft a quarterback and turn around and re-sign him long term. So I would love for this guy to be the one. I don't care what school he went to. He's a Buccaneer now. Let's hope that this guy is the guy.
Right. Yeah. So I watched a lot of, this has been all OTAs, and then they're about to get into mini camp and stuff like that. But I watched a lot of press conferences from, Bruce Arians, Byron Leftwich, and some other coaches. They like what they see. From what I've heard, they like what they see. It's a good thing that he's brand new and he's young and fresh, and he's ready to absorb anything that's thrown at him. And they're saying that so far so good, and he's learning and he is catching on pretty quickly, and I hope to see good things from him at training camp and then also in some preseason games.
Yeah. I'm excited. Clay Lynch is talking about being at the Aints game October 31st, which is where hopefully our destination.
Yep. I plan on trying to get down there.
Yep. I'm working on my costume actually right now, believe it or not.
I haven't
got my pirate hat. I've got my pirate hat is good. I figure, while I'm in Tampa, I can go, and there's a couple of spots over there that I usually go to and buy stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a fun time. Just hope nobody puts a root on me or anything like that, or a voodoo curse, or
I know, right?
Grabs a lock of my hair and makes a voodoo doll or something.
I know. When the Bucs went to New Orleans for the NFC, for the championship game? Yeah. They made a Tom Brady voodoo doll and painted it on the wall on the street in New Orleans. Did you ever see that picture?
I believe it. Nothing surprises me.
Well, it obviously didn't work.
I love New Orleans. But I haven't been since since Katrina. But so this will be my return. Hopefully my return trip back there, and hopefully it'll be a good trip. But I've never been before.
It's always been a place that I want to go. So
yeah. And I love the fans. I love the fans for the most part. They're cool to debate with. They're cool to talk trash with.
Yeah.
And they're your rival. Unlike the Atlanta Falcons fans, where they're just delusional and you just want them to just shut up. So there's a big difference between the two of them. But it's always fun to have that kind of rivalry and that kind of. As I've got a lot of friends that are Saints fans, and let me tell you that the regular season was painful because I got a lot of phone calls over those two.
I was like, just don't talk to me, please. Yeah, so, I've got one friend that's a Saints fan, lives in New Orleans. I'm like, please just don't talk to me. And then the Bucs won that championship game, and I was like, who's laughing now? And
exactly.
he's like, I'm blocking you.
That's exactly how I look at it too.
Mhm.
So yeah, this was a really good. I don't even think we got through this whole article. So
Well, the
so
big thing we didn't talk about is the running backs, and
yeah, let's talk about that.
yeah,
The
that's the
running back.
biggest thing. Giovanni Bernard practiced in OTAs. Did you see the picture of his massive thighs?
Yeah,
He's got muscles on muscles on muscles of his thigh, like this
yeah.
big. And,
Was that
from,
you? Was that you that said thick thighs save lives?
yes, it was me. I was like, God damn. Oh my goodness. I had no idea. But yeah, so he's in like spectacular shape right now.
Mhm.
And
But I think that's the one thing about Giovanni Bernard. Every year, even if he's injured, I mean, he always comes into camp in shape.
yeah,
I've never
that's what
seen
the
him
coaches were
not.
saying. Like, he's a professional athlete. There's no reason for people to be surprised that he's in such great shape because, that's how he always is. So, I'm looking forward to Giovanni Bernard being, kind of that swing pass guy, the screen pass, running back kind of guy on third downs, because, that's what he's used to doing on previous teams. And that's what Tom Brady is used to with White back in not New Orleans, in New England. So I think Tom Brady's really going to like having him, and it'll be interesting to see them actually playing together.
Yeah, it will be. That's something I'm looking forward to. If there's any player you could look at that, starters, mostly starters, who are you the most looking forward to in camp?
I mean, I'm going to be all fangirling Tevin White the whole time. So that's probably the most important, like that's the biggest thing. Just in general, the defense I want to see improve. And then the only other player that I would want to see is when we were talking more about, Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis, I want to see Antoine Winfield Jr. and see if he's able to improve upon his skills, or like, that's what I'm hoping for. And I wouldn't expect any less in his sophomore year. So that's the biggest thing that I'll be looking at as a starter.
Yeah. So for me, it's going to be Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan of Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Tristan Wirfs, and him and Joe Tryon is another guy that I really want to see what he's capable of doing. I know that he had that surgery to kind of clean up his knee. They're talking about he'll be ready by
he'll be ready.
Yeah. So it's going to be good to see him. Carl Hardy is talking about Keyshawn Vaughn. I think this is going to be exciting for him too, because this will be his first camp that he's actually been able to attend. And, with that large coaching staff and the way they set up their camp, it's amazing that, to me, all these guys are getting exposure. Whereas if we were looking at, let's say, we'll throw Carolina out there. We were at Carolina's camp. They're limited because all the coaches are focused on only a certain number of people.
Right.
Whereas, the Bucs, they're able to look at more players. More players are exposed, and there may be something they see in a player, and they're like, okay, let's go with this. Let's go with him. Let's see what he can do, and you get more opportunities. So that's exciting to me. I'm glad that somebody like a Keyshawn Vaughn will get that opportunity. OJ Howard.
OJ Howard.
I'm excited that he's back, and I pray to the football gods that he can stay healthy for a whole year.
It's a love-hate relationship with me and OJ Howard, just because I'm a huge fan of Cameron Brate. And, OJ Howard, when he was drafted, became, kind of the starter over Cam Brate. And, Brate is not as good as a blocker, but I mean, that's something that I would love to see him improve upon. And then, I always want to see like a Bucs succeed. So I'm hoping OJ Howard has a great season and he's able to stay healthy, because he hasn't been able to do so since he entered the NFL.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. He has all this potential, all this upside, physical ability. And if we could just put it all together, because we've seen glimpses of him where he's gotten started, he's gotten on a roll, he may start out slow. Like, he started out right out of the gate fast with Tom Brady. And just that right there just gave me so much hope that this was a good move to pick him at 19. He was the guy, and he's showing everybody that this is why they drafted me. So I want to see him play a full season. I
Right.
want to see him get into a zone, and I want to see him just punish defenses up and down the field.
And I think one thing that's good for him as far as maybe possibly being healthy is the fact that there are, more tight ends. There's Gronk, there's Brait, there's what's his name? Oh, Tanner Hudson. There are multiple tight ends, so he's not having to play every single down. So hopefully that can contribute to him being less injury prone.
There you go. And we haven't even talked about Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
I mean, just because of what we know that he's capable of doing.
Right. And that's something that was it Jay or I forget, when we were talking about Donovan Smith,
Yeah.
Rob Gronkowski would line up next to Donovan Smith and help block. So that was a big help for Smith as well. And, Gronk, I hope to see him continue being a blocker because he blocked just as well as,
His technique is flawless.
Yeah. He was putting on a clinic for how to block.
Yeah. I mean, you put a little bit more weight on him, and he's an offensive lineman.
Right.
But
Exactly.
another guy that, we just mentioned his name earlier, but another good blocker is Bernard. Giovanni Bernard is a great blocker. He can, that's another guy that's going to alleviate some of the pressure as well, just having him out there. And I mentioned this before, and I don't know, there's kind of 50-50. Some people are like, well, it's okay that he's here. Other people are like, well, we expect certain things out of him. What I look at with Giovanni Bernard, he's an upgrade over Shady McCoy.
Absolutely.
If you combine Shady McCoy's body of work in Tampa last year, I think you've hit a home run bringing Giovanni Bernard in this season.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how you have to look at it. He's going to contribute throughout the season. He's going to contribute more than what you got from a Shady McCoy last year.
Right. Shady McCoy played maybe like 3 or 4 games and had like an impact on one of them, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think was that the Carolina game?
Yeah, I think when Romeo got hurt or something.
Mm-hmm.
So
he came in and did what he had to do. But he's here's a guy that I believe they've upgraded, and I think that they're
big upgrade.
So it's definitely something to look forward to. So any big plans this weekend?
No plans this weekend. No, anything going on for you?
Not really. Not to speak of, really. I think I'm starting this new diet, so working on that. And so we'll see how that all plays out. I'm starting to get a little bit more active. I've got a spin bike that, I don't know. When I was downstairs, I'm sure you saw the spin bike behind me. And I just kind of got away from using it. Now I use it today. I did about 15 miles a day. And so now I'm going to start really working. And, I was trying to change my diet a little bit. Friend of mine got real sick, and, and he had to change his diet or it was going to kill him. And I'm thinking, man, I'm younger than this guy. And I'm like, man, maybe I need to be proactive and start doing this now. So, drinking.
What does that mean for press box wings?
Oh, it doesn't mean any of that. Nothing changes.
Oh, okay. That's just
I'll be on vacation. You can throw that out.
Oh, yeah. Vacation diet doesn't.
Exactly. So, just do the best you can and, just pay attention to that kind of thing. And I've really been doing this. The coworker that I have, he does intermittent fasting.
Yeah, I've heard of that before, and it's
not fasting like it's unhealthy, but it's like 12 hours.
Right. I've heard of it before. I've known people who do it, and they say they love it, but I'm just like, I want to eat when I want to eat. So
yeah, exactly. And portion control is huge too. So
stay healthy, everyone.
There you go. Well, guys, we are out of here. It's been almost an hour already. And before I let everybody go, just keep in mind that, we're getting closer to the season. People are starting to get vaccinated. People are starting to get out more. Be nice to everybody. It's so much easier to be nice than it takes a little bit more effort to be patient. Yeah. And just be patient with people. We've all been on lockdown and, coming out of lockdown, let's have some fun. And, You never know what somebody else is, the person in front of you is going through. So all I could ask is just, be nice. Take a step back and think, man, what if that was me?
Right.
Absolutely. You'd want people to understand you. So that's all I have.
Yeah.
But
just be nice, be patient, and go Bucs.
There you go. And go Lightning.
And Lightning.
Go Lightning. Yeah. Again, if you get a chance, guys, bucsreport.com. And after you get done there, you're all excited about your team, go to smacapparel.com and buy yourself a shirt. Yep. You're welcome. All right. Thank you, everybody. And we're out of here, and we will see you next Friday. Peace.